What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Wes again, back with another video. And as most of you know, the other day we had the big UFC 264 pay-per-view, main evented by Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor for the trilogy fight. And I'm gonna just let y'all know off the muscle for those who haven't seen it. Man, it was a chaotic card. Man, it was a lot of KOs, a lot of finishes, and the ending to the main event was one of the most horrific endings that you can see in a UFC fight. And I'm gonna get into all the fights on the main card a little bit, but mainly I'm gonna go into what everybody wants to talk about, the main event in detail, and just let y'all know what I thought of it, and just the card as a whole, and just let y'all know my take of the whole situation, and how I think UFC should proceed, and just what I think, how I think it went, basically. First fight, we had Sean O'Malley taking on Chris Montano in Chris Montano's UFC debut. And I gotta say, I was impressed by both guys. More so impressed by O'Malley. On O'Malley's side, I was just impressed by his crispness and his offense. I mean, he was able to pretty much punch and land at will with an array of different combos, different kicks, punches, and he was on the back foot basically the whole fight because Chris Montano, he wasn't giving Sean O'Malley no breathing room. I'm talking about no breathing room at all. Sean O'Malley, it felt like he was fighting a zombie out there. Now, Sean O'Malley, if you've seen him fight, he's known for walk-off KOs, all that, putting guys to sleep. And he was hitting Chris Montano with some of his best shots I done seen him land on anybody. And Chris Montano just kept walking forward the whole fight, and he was not being phased at all. I mean, they stopped it in the fifth round. You can agree or disagree if it was an early stoppage, if it shouldn't have happened, because, Chris Montano was, he was still there. He was still, in it. But he just, he took a whole bunch of unanswered punches as he was moving forward. Personal opinion, I mean, I see the logic. You want to protect the young fighters, make them live to fight another day. And, it's clear who was going to win the fight anyway. Sean O'Malley won every single round, there's no doubt about it. So, yeah, it was pretty much unnecessary punishment for the most part. But I think, when a guy's moving forward, the way, he's going, he deserves to finish the fight. Because you never know what can happen in that last minute. Chris Montano, he was able to land a couple solid punches. You never know if one of them could have connected. He could have got the KO and got Sean O'Malley out of there. I don't think he would have, though. O'Malley had great head movement throughout the whole fight, great footwork, just an all-around flawless performance on his end. But one thing I got to say is I'm tired of seeing him fight, up-and-comers / unranked guys. O'Malley, he's got the star power now. He's got the buzz. He's got the highlight performance. UFC, you did what you had to do with him so far. It's time for him to fight a top 5 guy. See how legit he is. I like the guy. I want to see him do well. I think, he can hang with some of the best in the division for sure, no doubt about it. I think it's time to match him up in there with somebody like a Cody Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw, or, although he's got a fight coming up against Pedro Munoz, so those two are out of the picture. Frankie Edgar, even a vet like Frankie Edgar, somebody with a name, somebody that we would, could see him, go at it with. But yeah, that was the first fight of the night. Second fight of the night, same weight, bantamweight, but on the women's side, we had Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitska. And that was a solid matchup. Ranked, number 4 ranked versus number 5. And it was competitive for as long as it was. I mean, both girls were going back and forth. Irene was showing good, crisp boxing throughout the whole time. Yana, she was keeping the pressure, getting, trying to clinch her up, trying to get some takedowns in. But Irene showed good takedown defense, was able to get back up off her feet, showed solid ground game. And then she caught her with a vicious left hook that just took Yana out. Finished it off a ground and pound. And Irene, she's been doing good in her last few fights. I don't think she should try to fight Amanda Nunes yet. The way, just off the fact that, when she fought Holly Holm was able to pretty much spark her up at will throughout the majority of the fight. And you all know, Amanda Nunes, when she lands on you, it's a whole different story. It's just pure power and ferocity coming at you. And, I just don't think she's ready for that. She's definitely one of the best in the division, but the distance between the champion and everybody else is kind of high. it's kind of high. And I think Irene Aldana would get made short work of if she was to fight Amanda now. I think she should continue to fight top-tier opponents, in the top 5. Keep trying to refine her skills. Maybe even get a rematch with Holly Holm, see how she can fare the next time out. And then take her crack at the champ, I would assume Amanda Nunes would still be the champ at the time, although she do get a tough matchup with Juliana Pena coming up that I'll talk about in another video. But, yep, moving on, we had a heavyweight fight between Tai Tuivasa and Greg Hardy, and it wasn't really much to talk about with this one. They came out, both men, Tai Tuivasa started off with some vicious, nasty leg kicks. Greg Hardy then started to close the distance, went for some overhand rights of his own. Landed one, shook Tuivasa a little bit, but then he came in, got caught with a hook, and then Greg Hardy just dropped like a sack of potatoes, basically. I mean, he was straight up, then he came just straight down, like he slumped. It was crazy. It was a heavy shot. But yeah, as long as that fight lasted, it was, it was entertaining. I gotta say, up to this point, the card was pure fireworks. Like it was wild. It was a hell of a card. Tai Tuivasa on a 3-fight win streak, It looks like he's going to keep moving up to the rankings. I don't know what Greg Hardy will do after this. I don't know if, UFC will keep him around or not. He's shown this was his big step up in competition. He got finished in the first round, so it'll be curious to see how they do with Greg Hardy and, just what'll happen next. But Tai Tuivasa, he keeps that win streak up. I could see him fighting somebody in the top 3. And if he gets a win there, I could definitely see UFC pushing him to fight for the title. He's a real fan favorite. The crowd loves him every time. He got his old gimmick well, not a gimmick, but, where he drinks the beer out of the shoe. I think it's disgusting, but, I mean, it's hilarious. The fans love it. And he's always putting on an exciting fight, so that should be good. Next fight, we had Stephen Thompson versus Gilbert Burns, 2 of the top welterweights in the world right now. And I mean, it was an interesting fight for the most part, but, a lot of people, of course, they were booing because, the lack of excitement. And I can definitely see it just because of how the cards started off and, what happened with that. But it's something people got to understand. Like, this is mixed martial arts. It's not boxing. It's not kickboxing, bro. There are specialists in the sport and, there's all-around fighters, all types of different fighters for a reason. Gilbert Burns' specialty, he's a 4-time jiu-jitsu world champion. Stephen Thompson's specialty is he is a kickboxer. And people were mad because, Gilbert Burns was going for takedowns and, trying to implement some ground and pound, and it wasn't the most exciting thing in the world. But it's like, if you were a Gilbert Burns coach, what would you tell him to do? Especially for my legitimate MMA fans out there that watch the sport. Would you tell Gilbert Burns, yeah, bro, stand in there with Stephen Thompson and just try to have a kickboxing match with him? Try to have a kickboxing match with the 57-0 Stephen Thompson. That's a 57-0 kickboxer. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu expert. And that's not even no disrespect to Gilbert Burns' striking game, because he landed some solid overhand rights on Stephen Thompson, but he was able to control the fight majorly when he was on in top position on the ground. Stephen Thompson, he's dangerous. He almost ended Gilbert Burns with a spinning wheel kick that knocked him down. Of course, Gilbert Burns is going to take him down and win the fight. He got to secure his victory. But yeah, so he was able to get the win by a unanimous decision. Called out, majority of the welterweight division. Leon, Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal was in the crowd. He looked like he was, that's a fight he wants. I think before it reported that he wanted the winner of Gilbert Burns, Stephen Thompson. So I expect to see that next, and I think that's a great fight. Jorge Masvidal, another great, boxer in the division. Gilbert Burns, great grappling. Jorge Masvidal, he's shown in his past few fights with Usman, he can handle a strong grappler, in the grappling aspect of the game. So it'll be interesting to see that. But now let's get into what everybody clicked on for the main event. Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor. There was so much talk coming into the fight, man. There was a whole thing through Conor and Dustin about the charity that, Dustin said, you were going to donate to my charity. You didn't. And McGregor got pissed and started hashing insults at Dustin, screenshotting Dustin Poirier's wife sending him, direct messages on Instagram. Conor saying that he's going to kill him and he's going to go out on a stretcher and that he, should have never disrespected him. Then Dustin Poirier just saying all that noise and you about to get knocked out again, this and that, all types of stuff. So a lot of heat coming into this third fight. A complete 180 from the second fight where they were all nice and cordial in the beginning. So fight started off, Conor McGregor came out looking a lot looser than he did the first fight. First fight he was real stiff in a boxing stand. This fight kind of looked like the old karate Conor. Throwing some nice leg kicks, landing some good, shots to the face. But, Dustin Poirier started handing out some more leg kicks of his own and then start implementing his striking. Got some nice shots off. Conor goes for a takedown. Dustin Poirier stuffs it, but then Conor goes for the guillotine choke after. Was in it for a while, but couldn't quite get it in a position where Dustin was really in danger. Conor, did some nice striking off the elbows from the ground. Then Dustin Poirier started ground and pounding him. Pretty much, was destroying him for the majority of the rest of the round. But the big drama is when they got back up, both go for a punch. I think they both went for a right. Both miss. Conor's leg snapped under him. Nasty, similar to Anderson Silva. And the bottom of his leg and his ankle just bent. And then Poirier got on top of him to end the round with some punches. But and then Dustin Poirier ended up winning by TKO. Now, a lot of mixed reactions. A lot of people saying that, Dustin Poirier did his thing and he won. A lot of people saying that, it was bull crap. Conor McGregor got hurt at the end of the round. They need to fight again, yada, yada, this and that. And I can see both sides of it for the most part. But at the end of the day, it was all part of the fight. The reason Conor's leg broke, it wasn't no freak accident. Not like just because he got up, he stepped. No, it was all part of the fight. If you look at the kicks Conor was throwing, he wasn't throwing them, the way you're supposed to. He was kicking him, and it was landing on the side of Dustin's kneecap. He wasn't like landing on the thigh, wasn't landing on the bottom of the calf. He was landing on the kneecap. And when you throw a leg kick, you're not supposed to go in the knee area because that's where the strong bone is, and that's where your shin can get snapped up into. And, usually people use their knees to check the kick. And then, Dustin mentioned that in the fight. And when I look back to watch it, sure enough, that's where it was landing. So, if you ask me my final opinion about it, I feel that Dustin Poirier definitively won. Because not only that, it's not like Conor was beating him up. Conor started off good like the first 45 seconds. But the way the fight ended, Dustin Poirier pretty much dominated 75% of that first round. And if you ask me, it was only going to get worse in Conor's favor because Conor, he's a first to second round fighter. As the fight go on, he gets weaker, he gets tired, more tired. And Dustin usually gets stronger. So, for Dustin to have a great start early, and then, from what we saw in the last fight, there's nothing in my mind that believes that Conor would have came back and won. Obviously anything is possible, but I just don't see, how Conor would have came back and won. The reason his leg broke, it had to do with the way he was kicking. He wasn't kicking properly. That's a mistake on your end. It isn't like, you just came out, took a step and your leg snapped. And it's the way it happened. Like, it would be, and I feel it's no different, with Weidman, Hall, and Silva Weidman. You checked the kick, you defended yourself, and it led to your opponent's leg breaking. That's part of the fight. Now, I do think the McGregor's, for him, that's going for him. He has a built-in excuse a little bit to make a play for the fourth fight. But obviously, with your leg breaking like that, you're going to have to be out for a minute. I don't even know how long he's going to be out. I would say at least a year for sure. And I'm pretty sure Dustin Poirier will fight for the title by then. He's been the number one contender for a long time. He just beat Conor 2 times in a row. I think that's a good fight, him versus Charles Oliveira next. Also, I think Conor, should take a fight before that. Especially if Dustin wins and gets the belt, I think Conor needs to prove that he can win some fights at the top of the lightweight division before he gets a shot at the title. And I think the perfect bout would be Conor versus Rafael dos Anjos. They got into a little argument over, the weigh-ins. That was due to the fact that previously they were scheduled to fight one another. back in the day for the 155-pound title. And there's history there. It's a good matchup on both ends, and I just think that should be Conor's return fight. I think Dustin Poirier has deserved it, and that, show he deserves it, can fight for the title next. And yeah, that's my take on the whole event. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, make sure, you leave a like. If you want to keep getting news on, all sports in general, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you can get notifications anytime I post a video. And let me know what you think in the comments below, what you thought of the pay-per-view, what you think of, Conor and Dustin Poirier ending, if you think that it's a legit win for Dustin, if it's not, and let me know why. And yeah, that's my take on everything. Appreciate you for watching. Hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.